Okay, we are determining the equation of a line given its graph. What we're going to check in this first part is the rules for variation of slope. Slope refers to the inclination of the line. You could call it some sort of direction for a line. So we're going to focus primarily on that. So your attention needs to be focused on this. The sign variation for m. Depending on the line, since we're going to be analyzing lines, depending on the direction of the line, the sign that the slope or m is going to have. If the line goes downwards, then the m will be negative. If the line goes horizontal, then the m will be 0. And if the line goes in diagonal, then in a upward diagonal, then the m is going to be positive. The equation or the formula that we're going to use for the answers is going to be y equals mx plus b, where m is going to be the number we're going to call slope, and b is going to be the number we're going to call y-intercept. So let's go to see how we do this. Okay. Normally you will get exercises like this, where a line is given to you in a grid and you're asked to find the equation of that line. The equation of a line is basically the name of the line. Lines are mathematical objects, which means their names are going to be mathematical. They're not going to be names like Ana, Pedro, or something like that. No. So, how do we find this thing? The equation of the line is going to have the form y equals mx plus b. Now, this b and this m have to be substituted by numbers. So it could be something like y equals 3x plus 2, for example. Those are basically the patterns that we're going to follow for naming lines. So we need to start with m, slope. So how do you find m? It's pretty simple to find. M, in this case, refers to the amount of squares the line is moving, whether it's up or down. Since the line is moving upward, that means the m is positive. All I need to do is find two intersections that are right next to each other. This one and this one. Now, notice that these two intersections, like I said, are right next to each other. I could have chosen, for example, this one, and that would be a problem because they're not right next to each other since there is another intersection in between them. I need to choose intersections that are close to each other. Okay? I need to find basically points that do not separate from one given column. If I find another one around here, then I'm moving from column and that will be wrong. I need to find points that are immediate, one to the other one. Once I've done that, all I need to do is check how many squares are between those two corners. If I pay attention in here, I can see that there are two squares, right? So that will be the number m. M is just the number of squares that is moving that line. And you can see that it's moving 2 squares, 2 squares, 2 squares, 2 squares. M is basically a pattern of squares that the line is following. Next number we need to find is b. What is b? b is the vertical mark by which the line is passing by. In this case, this line is passing by this vertical mark, which is 1. So b in this case would be 1. Now that I know m and b, the process is very simple. I just need to write the answer. Y equals m, which will be 2, x plus b, which is plus 1. Always remember to write the x. If you put y equals 2 plus 1, that is wrong. And always remember the m goes first and then goes the b. If you switch the numbers, that is also wrong. You need to write things in the pattern y equals mx plus b. So this would be the answer for the equation of the line. This is not a topic that requires that much time. You just need to observe. And it's like adding 2 plus 2, 4. Yes, you don't need that much time to do this thing. So let's go to the next one. I have 3 lines in here, so let's focus on one of them first. Okay, let's go with the red line. look at the red line. Do you see it's going downwards? That means the m is negative. I'm going to start with y equals negative. Now, let's find m. There's a corner in here. There's a corner in here. How many squares are between those two corners? 1, 2, 3. So, the m would be negative 3. X. And then I need to find b. By which vertical mark, okay, or through which vertical mark is the line passing by? Well, it's passing by 2. So, the equation of the red line will be y equals negative 3x plus 2. That's simple. Next one. Well, let's go with the green one. Okay, so green. Let's look at the green one. Y equals. It's moving upward, so it will be positive. I'm not going to put a minus. It's positive. Okay, now I need to find marks. It could be anywhere. Like I could find a mark in here. I just need to find another mark right next to it. Okay, it could be this one, or it could be this one, and they're close. Now, if I mark this one, this will be wrong because I'm getting marks that are way too separate one from the other one. No, they need to be close to each other. So this one and this one, I'm going to use those. Then I need to ask myself how many squares are between those two marks. Well, there are 2 squares, 1 and 2. So the m will be 2. I put x after the m, and then I need to ask myself which is the vertical mark through which the line is passing by. Well, the vertical mark is negative 1. So it will be minus 1. I am not going to put plus because it's a negative number, so I'm going to put minus 1. That will be the equation of the green line. Now let's look at the blue one. The blue line. Okay, y equals. Is it going upward or downward? Okay, from left to right. Okay, it's going in this direction, which is upward. So I'm not going to put negative. You put negative only when it's going downwards, like the red one. So this m is going to be positive. Then I need to find 2 marks. Well, there's one mark in here, and the closest one is this one. Okay? How many squares are between those 2 marks? Well, there's just 1 square. So it will be 1, and then I put the x, right? But remember that when you have letters, the 1 is invisible. So I am not going to write 1. I am just going to write the x. The 1 is invisible. Then I need to find b. b is the number or the vertical mark by which the line is passing by. The vertical mark is negative 1. Now be careful because the line is also passing by 1, but this is not a vertical mark. This is a horizontal mark, and we don't use horizontal marks. We use only vertical marks. So the correct number will be this one, negative 1. And that's it. All you need to do in here is counting squares and looking at which number the line is passing by. That's it. That's all we need in order to name the equations of every line. Let's do another exercise. Okay, we have 4 lines in here and our first horizontal line. So let's start with the green one. Okay, let's go with green. Okay, y equals, right? Now, is it going upward or downward? It's going upward, right? From left, okay, to right is going upward. So I'm not going to put minus, it's going to be positive. Now I need to find 1 mark. It could be anywhere, okay? I'll use this one, okay? This mark. Then I need to find the next mark. Well, the next mark or the next cross will be this one, right? How many squares are between those 2 marks? Okay, 1, 2, 3. So m is going to be positive 3. X. Now I need to find b. b is the vertical number or the vertical mark through which the line is passing by. So since I'm talking about the green line is passing by this marking here, which is negative 2. So I'm going to put negative 2. That's it. That will be the equation of the green line. Let's find another one. Let's go with blue. Blue line. Y equals. Okay, look at the blue line. From left to right, it's going downwards. It's going down. Since it's going down, I'm going to put minus at the beginning. Now, let's find a cross intersection. Okay, there's a cross intersection in here. And there's another cross intersection in here. How many squares are between those 2 intersections? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 squares. So m will be -4. I put the x, and then I need to ask myself the question, where is the blue line passing by? Well, it's passing by -1 in the y-axis. So it will be -1. That's the equation of the blue line. Let's go now with the purple line. Okay, purple, y equals. The purple line, it's also going downwards. From left to right is going down. So I'm going to put a minus after the y equals. Then I need to find or count how many squares are between one cross intersection with the next cross intersection. I can find those intersections anywhere. I'll mark one in here. The next one cannot be any mark. It has to be the next or the closest mark. This would be wrong. This is wrong. I'm not going to mark 2 corners that are way separate one from the other one. No. The closest mark will be this one. These two are close to each other. Yes. So how many squares are between those 2 marks? Only 1 square. So remember, I don't write 1. It's invisible, right? I just put the x. It will be 1x negative, but the 1 is invisible. Now, where is this line passing by? It's passing by number 1. Now, that number 1 does not have a letter, so I do need to put the 1. It's not invisible because there is no letter with it. It's just a 1, so you have to write it. +1. The line is passing by +1. Not this one. This is wrong, okay? It's this one, the vertical marks. Remember always, it's the vertical marks, not the horizontal ones. And the last one will be the red, okay? Now, remember something I told you at the beginning. The sign variation. If the line is going downwards, then the m is negative. I put y equals negative, yep? If the line is upward, then it's y equals and it's positive. I'm going to put a positive number in there. What happens when the line is horizontal? Well, m is equal to 0, and 0 means it's nothing, right? So 0 means there is no m. m0, okay? I'm not going to put anything with the x. Matter of fact, since it's 0, I'm not going to write 0x. No, 0x is 0. It doesn't exist in there. It's 0. It disappears completely. So I don't look for m. I know it's 0, so it disappears. All I need to look for is the b, the number through which the line is passing by, the vertical number, which in this case is +3. So all I do is write that number. When a line is horizontal, all you need to tell me is by which vertical number is passing by, and that's it. I don't need to know m because there is no inclination. It's fully horizontal. So there is no m. That's it. Those are the types of lines that you are going to deal with, and this is the process to find them. You check for squares, and you check for the number it's passing by. Depending on the direction of the line, whether it's upward or downward, you're going to put a minus at the beginning or not. So that's how we find equations of lines.